Stop for a second. Do you still believe being good keeps you safe? That kindness protects you? Because what comes next will make you question everything you were taught. You've been taught that goodness wins, that kindness builds loyalty, that honesty earns respect. But what if I told you the exact opposite is true? That being good, truly good, is the fastest way to be used, betrayed, and forgotten. Niccolo Machiavelli, the man the world called evil, saw this centuries ago. He watched kind kings be overthrown, honest men silenced, and loyal souls destroyed by those they trusted most. He realized a brutal truth, one that society still hides from you today. Good people lose not because they're weak, but because they don't understand the rules of power. In this video, I'll reveal the secret Machiavelli discovered, the one that turns your kindness from a weakness into a weapon. You'll learn why being good makes people exploit you, how the most successful people disguise their strength under goodness, and how to use Machiavelli's hidden wisdom to protect yourself from manipulation, betrayal, and emotional exhaustion. But before we go deeper, understand this: I'm not asking you to turn evil. I'm asking you to stop being naive, to be good with awareness, not weakness, because in a world ruled by wolves, a soft heart with no armor doesn't survive. Now, drop this in the comments. I choose powerful goodness, if you're ready to see the truth. Because after this, you'll never look at goodness the same way again. In the very first chapter, we'll expose the illusion of moral purity and reveal why most people aren't truly good. They're just performing goodness to feel safe. People love to believe they're good. It's comforting. It gives life a sense of order, like a story where the good always win. But Machiavelli dismantled that illusion brick by brick. He showed that even the most moral actions often come from the darkest motives. You donate not just to help, but to feel valuable. You forgive not to heal, but to seem superior. You love not unconditionally, but to be loved in return. Machiavelli said that morality is a mask worn to control perception. Goodness is currency traded for validation, loyalty, and reputation. Strip it away, and you see the machinery of power underneath. He saw rulers use virtue as theater, performing piety to win trust, pretending mercy to win devotion. But when it came time to survive, they chose strategy over sincerity. And those who didn't? They were erased from history. So ask yourself, is your goodness truly selfless? Or is it a strategy you don't yet realize you're using? Because until you answer that, you'll always be vulnerable to those who do. In a world built on perception, purity is the most dangerous illusion. It blinds you. It keeps you weak. In the next chapter, we'll uncover why the world doesn't reward goodness, it exploits it, and why every good man is one step away from being broken. Every good man thinks goodness will protect him, that if he stays patient, kind, and giving, the world will eventually reward him. But Machiavelli laughed at this idea. He saw that the world doesn't respect goodness. It respects utility. People keep you close not because you're kind, but because you're useful. Once you stop being useful, your goodness becomes irrelevant. A story. There was a man who always gave time, love, forgiveness. He thought this made him righteous. But slowly, the people around him began to take. They learned that his yes was guaranteed. They began to depend on his weakness, until one day he looked up and realized no one respected him. They only consumed him. Machiavelli would say, "A man who cannot say no is not virtuous, he is powerless." And here's where most fail. They think saying no makes them bad. But power doesn't come from pleasing others. It comes from boundaries, from choosing when to be good and when not to be. So let me ask you, are you a good man or a man trying to be liked? Comment your answer below. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the real reason why betrayal always begins with trust and how Machiavelli turned it into a weapon. Betrayal isn't random. It's a transaction. It happens when your value drops below someone else's ambition. Machiavelli wrote that loyalty is never absolute, it's conditional. People stay faithful until betrayal becomes more profitable. In politics, kings were betrayed, not because they were cruel, but because their kindness made them predictable. Predictability is the death of power. The same happens in love, in friendship, in business. The moment someone knows, you will always forgive. They've already begun to plan their exit. This is the dark symmetry of human nature. We betray not because we hate, but because we desire something more. And desire will always outweigh gratitude. Machiavelli didn't condemn this truth. He accepted it, because to survive, you must see people not as they should be, but as they are. Betrayal becomes less shocking once you expect it, and once you expect it, you control it. Next, we'll expose how kindness becomes currency and why those who give too freely always go bankrupt. Kindness is powerful, but only when used with precision. Uncontrolled kindness is emotional spending without accounting. Eventually, you go broke. Machiavelli saw this in rulers who gave mercy to everyone until their generosity became their downfall. When people realize your kindness has no limit, they stop valuing it. They take it as their right. You become the emotional bank that never charges interest. Real power lies in controlled kindness, the kind that costs something. A calculated act of generosity makes people loyal. But constant kindness breeds parasites. The kindest people often end up the most bitter, not because they gave too little, but because they gave too long. In the next chapter, we'll see how Machiavelli turned empathy into a weapon, not by feeling less, but by controlling when to feel. Empathy isn't weakness, it's strategy. When you can feel someone's pain, you can also predict their choices. Machiavelli understood this long before psychology existed. He knew that those who master empathy can manipulate emotion itself. He watched rulers comfort their enemies not to heal them, but to study them. They learned fears, desires, weaknesses, and used them later. Empathy, when controlled, becomes the ultimate form of intelligence. But when uncontrolled, it makes you a puppet, because you start feeling others' pain more than your own. Real mastery isn't losing empathy, it's directing it. To know when to care and when not to. That's not cruelty, it's power. In the next chapter, we'll confront the dark mirror of the self, why people who try to be purely good end up resenting those who aren't. Here's a secret Machiavelli saw but never said outright. The good often envy the powerful. The virtuous man looks down on the cunning, but secretly wishes he could be like them, fearless, decisive, unbothered. This envy festers, and over time, it corrupts. Goodness without power turns into resentment. You begin to hate those who succeed by breaking the rules you follow. You call them immoral, but deep down, you're angry that they're free. Machiavelli believed that the only way to stay pure is to accept impurity, to see morality as a tool, not a cage. Next, we'll see how he taught rulers to wear masks, not to deceive others, but to protect their own humanity. Machiavelli's world was ruthless. He knew a simple truth: honesty gets you killed first. So he taught rulers to wear masks, not lies. Masks, because the mask lets you move safely among predators. It hides your fear, your pity. Without it, you become predictable, and in politics, predictability is suicide. But here's the paradox. Most people wear masks to impress. The Machiavellian wears them to survive. So let me ask you, what mask do you wear every day? The kind that hides your weakness? Or the kind that hides your strength? Drop your answer in the comments. Next, we'll unmask another truth: why love and manipulation are two sides of the same strategy. Machiavelli saw love as politics in disguise, a stage where emotion hides strategy. In love, everyone negotiates power: who gives more, who needs more, who can walk away first. We call it romance, but it's a silent war of leverage. The one who loves more always loses, because love, like power, depends on who can detach faster. That's why many good people suffer most in love. They give endlessly, waiting for fairness in a game that was never fair. Love isn't destroyed by hate, it dies from imbalance. One loves with illusion, the other with intent. In the next chapter, we'll expose why Machiavelli never trusted emotions and how mastering detachment became the ultimate art of dominance. The strongest men are not the coldest, they're the most disciplined. They feel deeply, but act selectively. Machiavelli taught that emotion clouds strategy. To rule yourself, you must stand above your impulses, not within them. When you react, you surrender control. When you observe, you gain power. Detachment isn't numbness, it's awareness without panic. It's seeing betrayal and saying, "I expected this." It's losing something and saying, "It was never mine." That's how you survive without losing your soul. Next, we'll explore how moral guilt is used to control good people and how Machiavelli freed himself from it completely. Guilt is the leash of the moral world. It keeps good people obedient. They're told that to question, to doubt, to defend themselves is selfish. But guilt is not virtue. It's manipulation disguised as morality. Machiavelli cut that leash. He believed that guilt makes you controllable and power requires freedom from it. Once you stop feeling guilty for protecting your own peace, you stop being prey. Next, we'll see how every act of goodness contains a shadow, and why embracing that shadow is the only way to stop being consumed by it. Every act of good hides its opposite. Kindness hides pride. Charity hides control. Forgiveness hides superiority. Jung called this the shadow. Machiavelli lived it. To master the light, you must know your darkness. Pretending you don't have one only makes it stronger. The moment you embrace your inner darkness, not to act on it, but to understand it, you become immune to manipulation, because no one can use against you what you've already accepted. Next comes the final chapter, the transformation of goodness itself. Now you understand what Machiavelli truly meant. He never said to destroy goodness. He said to control it. Goodness should be like a sword hidden until needed. Not a flag you wave, but a force you command. The weak give kindness freely. The wise give it with purpose. That is strategic goodness. The balance of empathy and power, love and boundary, heart and armor. So, I'll ask you one last question. Are you ready to stop being blindly good and start being powerfully good? Drop this in the comments. I choose strategic goodness. Because from this moment, you'll never see goodness the same way again.